Now let's spend some time working on our left hand or fretting hand. One of the most important things that you can do when you practice the left hand is to fret accurately and practice playing exercise slowly and in time. Using a metronome when you practice the left hand is very effective, and it builds timing and rhythm into your left hand, as well as when you've practiced your banjo picking rolls, you've built timing and rhythm into your right hand. As a beginner, one of the first mistakes that beginners make is they have a tendency to want to hold the neck up with their left hand. You don't want to have to hold the neck and then also concentrate on fretting. So then the banjo should balance freely. If you need a strap or anything you can do, well, with the master tone style banjo, the heavier banjos, they do balance a little better. If you have a lighter banjo, besides the strap, really the forearm pushing against the armrest and pushing against my chest is what helps me to hold the banjo in place as well. So whatever it takes, really, just don't hold the banjo up by the neck with your fretting hand here. The other thing I've seen as a common mistake is students will have a tendency to kind of stick their palm up towards the neck, and you should have some space here. I place my thumb, just gently over the neck like that. Sometimes when folks learn the guitar, they have more of a formation like that. A little later, when you learn, you do actually do some thumbing on the fifth string. So anyways, this is the way that I've learned it. It's, I think just from a beginner standpoint, I think if you just resist the temptation to kind of grab up like that and at least put some space in there, that would be a good, effective way for you to do that. I don't think pointing the thumb like this, or really anything where you're gripping the neck or kind of uncomfortable, try to relax. That's one of the keys, just the left hand needs to be relaxed. One of your goals with the left hand is to keep your fingers close to the fretboard. Some of your favorite players, or the guys that play the best, they look like it's so effortless, and part of the reason it looks so effortless is they don't pick up their fingers too much. So keep that in mind. And when you're first learning, you'll push the middle finger down and this finger will pop up and all kinds of things go on involuntarily. So you're going to want to practice and get where your fingers are pretty close to the fretboard, or as close as you can. Again, practicing these exercises slowly will help you to gain control of your fingers, rather than if you go too fast, the involuntary motions will come more into play. When you play these, again, play in time and fret accurately. And when I say fret accurately, I mean play right behind the fret. You don't want to push on the fret, but just right behind the fret. Give you an example, maybe you can see better there. You get a clear tone. If you push too hard, here's a really good, you can actually push the strings sharp. So just no more pressure than really is needed. In a perfect world, you wouldn't even feel the neck on the tip of your finger. So you really just need a little bit of pressure there. Okay, let me demonstrate a couple of simple exercises for you. And using the correct finger would be a really good idea in these exercises, because the finger that I've chosen is the finger that you will use in a lot of the moves that you're going to learn later. Okay? Example 1. As far as the picking there, I only use the thumb. Being able to use the thumb on different strings is good practice, but it also simplifies things, and it doesn't bring into play other fingers that will just confuse what you're concentrating on, and that is to work on the left hand and the fretting what you're doing. The next simple exercise I'm going to show you is just a way of coordinating your fingers. And it's playing exactly the same thing over and over, but using a different finger each time. It's just 3rd fret and then open 2nd string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, open. And it looks like this with different fingers. Now you may notice as you're doing this that your hand is moving, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, that's a really good thing. Another thing that new students have a tendency to do is kind of want to stay in one place and do everything from one thing. But don't be afraid to let your hand move. You'll certainly need to move it later when you have the whole 23 frets to cover there. Here's another exercise for you to practice using all your fingers. And again, go slowly. Here's a sliding exercise for you. Here's a hammer-on exercise. Here's a pull-off exercise you can practice. On all of those exercises, the slide, hammer on, and pull off, I pick the string a little harder. That gives you extra sustain. And be sure to let the first note ring that you may be hammering on to, for instance. Let that note sound out its full value before you bring the finger down or pull the finger off, or slide the string for that matter. Notice how it just sits there for a second. Okay. And once I arrive there, I let the note sustain.